So what we're going to do is we're going to start with one of the Z-axis pieces, and just go ahead and pick one of the X or Y. It doesn't really matter. So we're going to need, for this portion of the build, we're also going to need the 30-30 hammer nuts and some of the M5x10 screws as well. So, let me put this back here so it's easy. So what I like to do is I like to actually get some of these started. Just makes the build easier as you get to it. And what I actually do is I actually put them in here so that they're going to line up horizontally with the slot, and I tighten them down just a hair, just enough so they don't wiggle around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here, and I'm going to put these screws and nuts in all of the angle pieces here before we move on to the next step. So now what we've done is I've gone ahead and I installed the hammer nuts and the screws and all these angle brackets, just going to save time as we go through the build now, so I don't have to stop and do that for everyone. So let's go ahead and we're going to start with a Z-axis and a Y-axis. Alright, so they're going to go together. Now, let's just go ahead and so we put these in here and they're very loosely tightened up. And the reason I do that, it makes it really easy. So you just stick it in there, and now you loosen it up a little, and then that hammer nut will drop into that groove, and now you can tighten it and it will go ahead and grab on. So I'm just tightening it temporarily right now, and I can install this one here, do the same thing, loosen up that hammer nut until it drops in the groove, and then just tighten it up. Alright, so now what we need to do is loosen this up just a hair so we can move it. Alright, so what we need to do is all of the X and Y extrusion from the bottom has to be 10 millimeters from the bottom of the lowest Z axis. So there's all kinds of different ways you can do this. I'm sure many are probably simpler than this, but what I do is I take my micrometer and I put it at 10 millimeters here, and I'll slide this down. One thing I've seen people do is they actually print end caps that you slip on the end of the extrusion, and it sets at 10 millimeters, which is a very good idea. I just did not do that. Alright. Tighten that. Now, make sure this is down here now. One of the things I like about using these external corner brackets is they actually square up the frame pretty much on their own, but I will go back and re-square everything as it's built. Let's double check, and that's 10 millimeters, so we're good there. So there is the Z and a Y axis. Now we're going to do Z and an X axis. Let's go ahead and install this. And just bring this up to where it's pretty much flush from the end. Well, it's got to be perfect yet, and just loosely tightening that in place. I'll do the same thing here. Alright, now bring this 10 millimeters from the bottom. Right on it. Down, double check it. Right there. That's in there. Tighten this one up. And there you got an X and a Y axis. So I'm going to try to keep these straight. Let's go down here and do the same thing with the next Z axis. And we're just doing the exact same thing we've been doing. So what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to be speeding this up so you guys can watch a fast forwarded version of this, and at the end of the video I'm going to have the full version where I am talking and boring everybody to death through the entire build. So, the same thing here. Get it 10 millimeters from the end. And again, way easier ways than how I'm doing this to get this 10 millimeters. But have it. So we got X, Y, so we need another Y. Let's double check, make sure these are the right one. And it is. And same thing, just moving on. Sometimes these hammer nuts can be kind of tricky to get to make the right turn to bite in. There we go. There, just tighten that down. And make sure this is flush and tighten this down. Here we're just looking to get our 10 millimeters again. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use these flush or flat L plates to attach the tops. So what I like to do for this, just to make things a little bit easier, is we're going to go ahead and we are going to flip this upside down. So, let's go ahead and attach the first plate. So, let's hold on. Make sure these are tight together before I... Alright, here, this handle on this gets a little slippery sometimes. Pushing these together before you attach this part here. There we go. That works a little bit better. Now, it's really important as you're doing this build to make sure this frame stays square. I am kind of going through this quickly. I'm going to go through and make sure it is all squared up when I'm all done. So now what we need to do is we need to, I'm not sure which axis from here. There you go. We need to put the side braces here. So these are the braces that your Z-rod, linear rod holders are going to bolt onto. So what we're going to do here is they need to be, there has to be 100mm gap between the top of this, the bottom of this, and the top of the next one. So let's go ahead and just get some mounts on here, kind of held in place. So it might have been easier to mount these on the extrusion first, actually, now that I think about it. Alright, let's go ahead. Let's bolt it on here. Here. So to 100. Now, the reason the gap needs to be 100mm here is because that's what we need in order to have the clamps on the Y-axis where the X-rods go in and move back and forth to clear. So bring these down here. Let's go ahead and get one side done. So there's 100mm there. Let's tighten that up. Let's tighten. Let's get our 100mm gap over here. Just a hair over here. Must have shifted when I tightened it. And you guys, you can be off a hair on this. This should give you a few millimeters wiggle room, but this will also help keep everything nice and square. Alright. Let's be a little bit smarter on this one and put these on the extrusion first. That's why I did that last time. There was a reason I did that. That's because I can't fit it in with the T-nuts already attached. So, there we go. Let's start off one side. All right, and there it is. The entire frame is assembled. Now, these brackets do a really good job as you tighten them down to actually pulling everything in together square. But I will be off of camera going through here and double checking all my corners. I know they're not all perfectly square right now, but I didn't want to take up a whole bunch of your time. I wanted to show you how to do the actual frame build. So here we got it. You'd be looking at it from what the front is to me, or the back, I guess. So you have obviously the 4 Z-axes, this is the X, and here are the Y's. So in the next video, we will be starting with the bed frame assembly and the Z-axis. So we will do the linear rod holders on top and bottom, along with the motor mounts, the feet, and the upper linear rod holders. Once we get that all done, we will go ahead and install the bed loosely so that we can shift it back and forth. Then we'll move on to the X and Y motor mounts with the X and Y idler mounts and the X-axis carriage. So that's where we're going to pick up where we leave off here.